We're back here at the CNN Press Filing Center at St. Anselm College. Tonight's GOP debate, the second of two, is now history.
Earlier tonight, we were once again camped out in the spin room.
It's Tuesday, June 5th, 2007. There are just 518 days left until the 2008 presidential election. We're here in Manchester, New Hampshire for part two of our presidential primary debate road trip.
Last time it was the Democrats. Tonight it's the Republicans' opportunity to vie for their party's pole position.
And when we come back, we'll take a look at the highlights and talk with some folks who know a thing or two about Republican politics.
From St. Anselm College, I'm Rob.
I'm Will.
And this is Political Lunch.
Welcome back to Political Lunch. The GOP debate has just concluded, and we're going to start our coverage with something we've never done before.
WMUR and Gather.com have put together a collection of bloggers. They're going to tell us whether or not they think anyone in particular won tonight.
Now, here we should note that CNN's poll put McCain and Giuliani on top. As you'll see, the response we got from our bloggers is a little different. We'll start with Senator John McCain. Did anyone think Senator John McCain came out on top? Two bloggers for Senator McCain. Now we'll go to former New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani. Anyone think he came out on top? Four.
Five.
Five? Can anyone think Senator Sam Brownback came out on top?
Ouch.
How about former Virginia Governor Jim Gilmore? Ron Paul. Lots of hands for Ron Paul. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hands for Ron Paul. How about former Massachusetts Governor Mitt Romney? No hands for Mitt Romney.
Tancredo?
Tom Tancredo. Any hands for Tom Tancredo?
Mike Huckabee? Anyone?
No hands. Great night, but not your winner. Tommy Thompson?
Anyone? Pam Johnston is with Gather.com. Gather and WMUR put together that panel of bloggers.
We recruited and engaged real citizens from New Hampshire to blog about a really important experience happening in New Hampshire. They really gave a raw, true perspective, man-on-the-street perspective that you just don't get from traditional media.
Congressman Ron Paul has barely managed to climb out of the basement, according to national polls, but that response from the bloggers is evidence of his extraordinary online popularity. His communications director, Jesse Benton, had this to say.
As far as the poll metrics as opposed to online metrics is an interesting question. We are very strong in cyberspace, and it's taken a little bit of time to be able to communicate that message to people that aren't as connected to the internet. We are seeing this grass fire movement really start to spread to people on the ground. I think evidenced by the fact that we had the largest number of flesh and blood supporters out there at our rally tonight. They were the largest and the loudest of any supporters out there. Things like that are clear signs that it's not just an online phenomenon.
At the beginning of tonight's debate, CNN's Wolf Blitzer asked the candidates to describe themselves. Clearly, they'd put a little bit of prior thought into the answers.
I'm Mike Huckabee. For 10.5 years, I was governor of Arkansas. I'm from the small town of Hope. You may have heard of it. All I ask is, give us one more chance.
My name is Thompson. Tommy. I'm the candidate, not the actor.
I talked with Governor Thompson in the spin room afterwards. Now, aside from a humorous opener tonight, which drew some laughs from the crowd, one of your remarks was that you have vetoed more bills than I think just about any of your competitors up there. Why is that something that the country needs right now?
I have vetoed more items than all of the candidates on the Republican and the Democrat combined by many hundreds. And the reason it shows is that you have to be a strong leader. And you have to have the position and the opportunity to say no to excess spending.
Among the current poll leaders, McCain, Romney, and Giuliani, it was Senator McCain who just couldn't be stopped.
Someone else has a better idea. I'd love to have them give it to us.
Thank you, Senator. Hold up.
Yeah, that can get
Senator.
that will get the support of enough people, 12 million people washing around America illegally, my friends. And I hope you'll examine the legislation, and I hope we can move forward with it, and we can make it better. But it's our job to do the hard things,
Mayor,
not the easy things.
In the spin room after the debate, the McCain campaign was notably absent. But Rob did manage to get a few minutes with Babe Buchanan, a conservative commentator for CNN and the head of Tom Tancredo's campaign. Now, Tancredo took dead aim at the immigration policy co-sponsored by Senator McCain.
We are testing our willingness to actually hold on to something called the English language, something that is the glue that is supposed to hold us together as a nation. We are becoming a bilingual nation, and that is not good. I have said dramatic things, and yes, I'm willing to do whatever necessary to try to stop this piece of legislation, and that includes go after any Republican that votes for it, because the Republicans can stop this.
And Tom answered his questions extremely well. He had a lot of passion, a lot of conviction, and came across. He was the only one up on the stage that had the guts to actually tell American people what his position is on immigration, that he does oppose amnesty, that the bill is devastating. The others dancing around it were not clear, and it was quite clear to me that they are all for amnesty. They just don't want to use that word, or they wanted certain things to happen first, or whatever it be.
Roy Tyler is Director of Communications for Duncan Hunter, who also had some things to say about immigration reform.
He's not talking politically. The man has been acting for 26 years to control our borders. He wrote the original border fence. He built the first fence. He authored the bill. It was passed. It was signed by both houses and the president, and funded, and then stopped. You know, but he's been fighting it ever since, and will remain.
Mitt Romney, who made strides toward universal health care coverage during his tenure as governor of Massachusetts, pressed that issue once again tonight.
We're not going to turn to Washington, because Washington makes a mess. Washington's all the talk. And we said we need to find a way to get everybody in our state insured with private insurance. The 500,000 who didn't have insurance, all the people worried that if they lost their job they'd lose insurance, we said we got to find a way to get them insured without raising taxes, without a government takeover, and that's what we did. It relies on personal responsibility.
I spoke with former Minnesota Congressman Vin Weber, who is policy chairman of Romney for President.
I was attracted to Governor Romney because he cares about public policy, he's interested in public policy, he wants to master it himself, and he identifies the same sets of challenges that I identify. He wants to keep taxes low, reform our health care system in a way that does not require the socialization of medicine in this country, a whole bunch of other issues.
Rounding out the big three is Rudy Giuliani, who didn't mince words in response to the opening question on Iraq.
Was it, knowing what you know right now, was it a good decision?
Absolutely the right thing to do. It's unthinkable that you would leave Saddam Hussein in charge of Iraq and be able to fight the war on terror. The problem the Democrats make is they're in denial. That's why you hear things like you heard in the debate the other night that Iran really isn't dangerous. It's 10 years away from nuclear weapons. Iran is not 10 years away from nuclear weapons. And the danger to us is not just missiles. The danger to us is a state like Iran handing nuclear weapons over to terrorists.
Bill Simon is Giuliani's Director of Policy.
The Democrats want to go on defense, and the mayor believes that we should go on offense. We ought to remain on offense. He said that many times, and I think that is the most important distinction between the mayor and the Democrats, and the mayor and other people that feel that we should have a timetable, that we ought to have a schedule upon which we'll withdraw.
New Hampshire State Senator Lou D'Alessandro is an institution in the New Hampshire primaries. He was sent into the fray tonight to defend the flock of Democratic candidates.
Well, I think what they did is they spent a lot of time, talking about failure rather than talking about how we're going to succeed. Foreign policy is a very significant issue. The restoration of America as the cradle of liberty around the world in a very positive situation, and none of those things were addressed. What are you going to do to restore America's place in the world community? How are you going to do that, and when are you going to do that?
Former Virginia Governor Jim Gilmore is another GOP candidate who's spent a great deal of time on his campaign talking about national security. But in the spin room, he preferred to talk about health care.
I think that the health care issue is very key, and it did not get sufficient attention. Let me talk about it for just a minute. It's key because the Democrats are trying to go to a universal coverage system, and that really is going to end up meaning a socialized medicine type of approach. I believe that we have to use the free market in order to bring health care to the maximum number of Americans.
Former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee stood out on the subject of religion, but in the spin room, he preferred to talk about a subject that didn't garner a single mention in the debate.
We've got to stop the fact that every 60 seconds, 2 kids drop out of high school and 30% never finish. And it's not just about the dropouts. Think about how many kids are taking the most expensive nap in America on the desk of their school. And the fact is, billions of dollars are being spent for somebody to teach those kids, and they're sound asleep. Is it because they're dumb? No, they're bored. We need to bring back music and art programs for every student in this country. Stimulate their creativity. Give kids a real education.
So the debates are done, and the circus has all but left town. At the end of the evening, Rob caught up with CNN senior political analyst Bill Schneider, who has a soft spot for the phenomenon that is the New Hampshire presidential primary.
I started New Hampshire in 1976. I came to New Hampshire. It's my 11th New Hampshire primary. And I started covering it in '76 with NBC News. I suppose my favorite experience was covering New Hampshire primary in the snow next to a covered bridge at the Sheraton Wayfarer, and the take took so long that by the time we finished, I had sunk into the ice and I couldn't move. And then I literally had to step outside my boots, which had to be thawed out of the ice. It was so cold. You're interested in politics, you're interested in people. You have to be interested in people. Good politicians are, good journalists are. And you know, when you go out to talk to people, we're going to be out in New Hampshire talking to people about watching this debate and what they thought. You know, then it actually is fun. The experience of covering a campaign, you just don't ever want to lose that, because it's a way of interacting with people and finding out what's on their minds. It's a great experience.
Thanks for watching Political Lunch. Thanks to CNN for being such great hosts up here in New Hampshire. And thank you to Zipcar for lending us wheels for the week.
On Friday, we'll be back in the studio with a look back at all the important lessons we learned covering these debates.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you on Friday.